Revenge spending. Why deprivation always backfires is proven by one stat. 74% of people who follow strict budgets end up overspending within 30 days of quitting them. So here's the question worth sitting with. If discipline works, why does it so often end in a spree? You've felt it. Weeks of saying no. Coffee at home. No dinners out. Every dollar accounted for. Every want denied. And then one ordinary Friday, the whole thing collapses. Not because you're weak. Not because you lack willpower. Something quieter is happening underneath. The tighter you squeeze a behavior, the harder it pushes back the moment you loosen your grip. This isn't a money problem. It's a mind problem. And it has a name, a mechanism, and decades of research behind it. Most people never learn it. They just keep blaming themselves, tightening the rules again, and living the same crash on a loop. By the end of this, you'll see the trap from the outside, and you'll understand why the people who stay steady with money almost never rely on strict rules at all. Stay with me. This one costs you nothing to understand and changes how you see every purchase. Then decide what you'll do with it. Picture the beginning. It always starts with good intentions. A spreadsheet opens. Numbers get typed into neat rows. You draw hard lines around your life. This much for food. This much for fun. Nothing extra, no exceptions. For the first week, it feels incredible. Control tastes like relief. You feel like an adult, finally in charge. You skip the takeout. You walk past the thing you wanted and feel proud. The rules are strict, and the strictness feels like strength. But notice what you're actually doing. You're not building a habit. You're holding your breath. You're running on tension, not on rhythm. And tension is a resource that runs out. Every no costs a little more than the last. You don't feel it yet. The account looks great. The graph points up. But underneath the tidy numbers, pressure is quietly building against a wall you drew yourself. You just can't see the crack forming yet. You mistake pressure for progress. And pressure, unlike a habit, always has an expiry date. Then comes the small moment nobody plans for. A hard day, a little too tired. You buy one thing you told yourself you wouldn't. Nothing dramatic. A meal out. A small treat. On its own, it means almost nothing. But watch what your mind does next. It doesn't say, one slip, back on track tomorrow. It says something far more dangerous. It says, well, I've already broken the rule. The budget's ruined now anyway. Might as well. And that single thought flips a switch. The careful person from last week vanishes. The line you drew is already crossed, so the line stops mattering. One small purchase becomes 5. 5 becomes a night you don't want to add up. This is the exact moment the whole thing tips. Not the first temptation, the first permission. The story you tell yourself, the instant you slip, is the story that decides everything that follows. Watch how fast pride becomes surrender. It takes a single sentence in your own head. The math is quietly savage. 0 mistakes, then total collapse, with nothing calm in between. That switch has a name. Researchers Peter Herman and Janet Polivy studied people who strictly restrained their eating. And they found something strange. The strictest restrainers weren't the most in control. They were the most likely to lose control completely once they crossed their own limit. Herman and Polivy called it the what the hell effect. The logic is brutal in its simplicity. Once you believe you've already blown it, the goal feels lost. And if it's lost, there's no reason to hold back at all. So restraint doesn't just fail, it reverses. It flips into the exact opposite of what you intended. And here's the part that matters for your money. Your brain runs the same script whether the rule is about food or spending. A strict budget is a diet for your wallet. Same tension, same fragile line, same collapse the moment the line gets crossed. The mechanism doesn't care what you're depriving yourself of. Read that again. Restraint doesn't weaken over time. It snaps, and the snap is the whole point. There's a model behind this worth knowing. Psychologists describe two boundaries inside us. One line where restraint begins, another far past it, where you finally feel satisfied. When you eat or spend, I feel you drift somewhere in the calm middle. No drama, no spiral, just quiet regulation. But strict rules move your first line way in. You start policing yourself much earlier than your body or your wants naturally would. So the gap between where you crack and where you feel full grows enormous. And when you finally cross that early line, you don't stop nearby. You free fall all the way to the far one. That's the spree. That's the empty cart at midnight, suddenly full. The strictness didn't protect you. It engineered the distance you'd eventually fall. The tighter the rule, the longer the drop. Deprivation doesn't remove the desire. It compresses it, stores it, and hands you the bill later with interest. Your wants didn't shrink under the rule. They waited, patient, quiet, and gathering force. That's why the drop feels bottomless. You didn't wander past one line. You blew past two at once. Now zoom out, because this is bigger than one bad weekend. There's a term for the mass version of this. It's called revenge spending. It surged after the pandemic lockdowns, when people who'd gone without for months came roaring back to spend. Not out of need, out of a feeling, a sense of being owed. Deprived long enough, the mind starts keeping score, and it wants payback. That's the second trap hiding inside the first. Strict budgets don't just risk a slip. They build resentment against your own life. Every no quietly adds to an invisible tab. And one day, tired and stretched thin, you decide it's time to collect. You call it treating yourself. You've earned it, you think. But look closer. It isn't a choice. It's a reaction, months in the making. The purchase isn't the disease. It's the fever. And the fever was your own restriction, waiting for a reason to break. Ask yourself honestly, how many of your splurges felt less like joy and more like collecting? Here's the cost that nobody adds up. It isn't just the money spent on the spree. It's the whiplash, the pride, then the shame, the control, then the collapse. Over and over, each cycle chips away at something more valuable than any dollar. It erodes your trust in yourself. You start to believe you're just bad with money, that you have no discipline, that something's broken in you. But nothing's broken. You were handed a method built to fail, and then blamed for the failure. Think about the raise that changed nothing, the promotion that vanished into the same anxious churn. More income poured into the same leaking cycle, just leaks faster. Because the problem was never the amount. It was the pattern. The all-or-nothing swing between white-knuckle restriction and guilty release. And you can earn twice as much and still ride that swing your whole life, wondering why the ground never feels solid. You blame the person in the mirror for a trap someone else designed. That's the cruelest part. Faster income into a broken pattern just breaks you faster. The leak scales with the flow. So how do the steady ones do it? The people whose finances feel quiet, unshaken, almost boring. They aren't more disciplined than you. That's the myth. They've just stopped playing the game of restriction entirely. They don't think in rules to obey or break. They think in systems that run on their own. They think in time, not in weekends. A choice today is a seed. not a sacrifice. They give their wants room to breathe instead of caging them. Small, planned, guilt-free room. Because a want with a little air doesn't explode. There's no forbidden line to cross, so there's no what the hell moment waiting. Nothing to rebel against. They spend on what genuinely matters to them and let the rest go calmly without a fight. It looks like willpower from the outside. It isn't. It's design. They built a life they don't have to constantly resist, and you can't out-discipline a system built to break you. Notice the difference. One person resists their life, the other one actually lives inside it. That calm is a skill, not a personality. Here's the uncomfortable truth most people never hear. You don't have a spending problem. You have an identity problem. Every strict budget quietly says the same thing about you. It says you can't be trusted. So we need these hard walls to contain you. And whatever you treat as untrustworthy, you eventually prove right. You become the person the rules assume you are. The rebel who breaks free the second the guard looks away. But flip it. What if you were simply someone who spends in line with what they value? Not restricted, not indulgent, just aligned. That person doesn't need to rebel because there's nothing holding them down. They don't crash because they were never holding their breath. The goal was never tighter control. It was needing less of it. Real financial peace isn't a cage you barely tolerate. It's a self you no longer have to fight. Change the identity and the behavior stops being a battle. Sit with that. The wall you build to protect yourself becomes the wall you rebel against. And it isn't luck that separates the two paths. It's repetition. The steady ones aren't winning some dramatic monthly showdown against temptation. They made the fight small enough to disappear into ordinary days. That's the secret hiding in plain sight. Big rules break because they demand heroic effort forever, and nobody has that. Small rhythms hold because they barely ask anything at all. One calm choice, repeated, beats one strict rule, broken. The person you'll be in 5 years isn't decided in the grand moments. It's decided in the tiny ones you're not even paying attention to. The unremarkable Tuesday, the default you never question. This is why deprivation always loses in the end. It's a sprint you're trying to run for a lifetime, and the swing between all and nothing burns the energy you needed to simply keep going. Consistency isn't glamorous, but it's the only thing that compounds. That's the quiet math nobody teaches. Small and boring, done daily, quietly outlasts heroic and rare. 5 years of tiny defaults decide more than any dramatic vow you'll ever make and abandon. So the real decision isn't the one you agonize over, it's the one you don't even notice making. It's invisible. It happens in the half-second before the purchase, in the story you tell yourself in that instant. Am I feeding a value or feeding a feeling? Am I choosing this or paying back a debt I built by denying myself too hard? Most spending that hurts isn't about the thing at all. It's about the emotion underneath it. Boredom, exhaustion, the quiet resentment of a life kept too tight. And you cannot budget your way out of an emotion. You can only notice it. That noticing is the whole game. Not more rules, not more shame. Just a moment of honest attention before the money moves. The people who stay steady aren't stronger in that half-second. They're just awake in it. They see the choice clearly while everyone else is running on autopilot, calling their reaction freedom. That awareness is free. It's available right now, and it's the one thing no rule can give you. So try something that isn't a rule at all. Tonight, before you sleep, look back over the day's spending, not to judge it, just to see it. Ask one honest question of each choice. Did this serve what I actually care about, or did it serve a feeling I didn't want to sit with? That's it. No spreadsheet, no punishment, just 2 minutes of clear-eyed attention. Do it long enough, and something shifts on its own. You start catching the pattern in real time, in the half-second, before the money moves instead of after. You stop needing the strict walls because you can finally see the ground. And when a want shows up, give it a little room instead of a locked door. A small planned yes today is what stops the enormous angry yes later. You're not restricting the desire, you're staying awake to it. That's the whole difference. Start tonight. 2 minutes. That's the entire ask, and it asks for attention, not willpower. Judgment closes your eyes. Curiosity keeps them open. Choose the one that lets you keep seeing. So think again about that number. 74 out of 100. Crashing within a month of quitting the very rules that were supposed to save them. They didn't fail because they were weak. They failed because deprivation was always going to backfire. It was built into the method from the first strict line they drew. The tighter the grip, the harder the rebound. That was never a flaw in you. It was physics. The people who stay steady aren't holding their breath and hoping to last. They're breathing normally, one ordinary day at a time. And that's the quiet revolution, hiding in something as unglamorous as a budget. You were never meant to fight yourself into peace. Deprivation makes you pay it all back, with interest. Attention lets you keep it. The next time you feel that urge to collect what you're owed, you'll know exactly what it is and where it really came from. Same receipts, same floor, different light now, and you finally know what you're looking at. Look again and see clearly.